one of the questions that we often find ourselves with is what is sensory awareness? Difficult to explain to people who have not experienced it before. But it's so simple, it's almost like a Zen koan. It's just too simple to explain in words. You have to experience it. So one way to begin to talk about it is that something we all experience, that sometimes we may feel off kilter, off balance, ungrounded, kind of out of it. At those times, we find it useful to somehow take a break and find a way to come back to our senses, the very natural, organic response. And of course, over thousands of years, people have tried different ways of meditation, finding meditation as being a way to quiet the mind and come home to the senses. So it's a very ingrained part of human nature that we have this need to transition from our very busy minds to more of our more natural state. And this is the basis of meditation, is just focusing on our senses as we quiet the mind. And this helps us come more into a fuller balance, something our nervous system is constantly trying to bring about in us without our having to do anything about it. It's a basic dynamic inside of us to come into a better, healthier balance. So that's what I'd like to have us explore today. And let's start by just feeling in ourselves any readiness, sense of willingness, any intention to come more into balance right now where we are. Anything in yourself that is curious about coming more into quiet. Is it possible just to become more conscious of the environment around you right now? Perhaps you hear any sounds that are in your environment. And just trust in yourself to let go of any unnecessary tensions. Feel what's going on in your inner environment. Perhaps feeling some movements inside of you. When you feel anything of your breathing now, without having to do anything about it, just perhaps being curious about the movement of breathing. Allowing it to move you as it does anyway. Perhaps feeling something of your heart beating. Just returning more and more to your own natural and freer state of being. So less focusing on doing and more focusing on being. And let's begin to explore the balance between our inner environment and our outer environment. So I invite you now just to take some time to look around this space that you're in. And move in any way that feels natural and healthy. And use your senses, your fuller senses, to explore this space that you're in. Do you have any sense of the spaciousness of the room? Perhaps you sense the temperature of the air. Just waking up more and more. Perhaps hearing more of what's around you, noticing certain shapes or colors. And as you do so, can you also sense your inner environment? And can you find a healthy balance between sensing your inner environment and your outer environment? So you're more fully in yourself while you're more fully in the environment that you're in. Feeling free to move or stretch, just trusting in your own needs. Becoming more fully present. It's actually very simple. And as you're doing this, maybe sensing what needs to wake up more in you. And can you explore some way of allowing this to happen? For example, in your feet and legs. Is there anything there that would like to wake up more? And could you use your hands or perhaps some sort of movement to wake up more in your feet and legs? So we can think of an orchestra as it tunes up. All the musicians are tuning up their various instruments. Maybe you, as the orchestra, can tune up different parts of yourself. Could be through shaking here or there, or stretching here or there, tapping yourself. It could be wiggling. So I'm seeing some tapping, I'm seeing some shaking, I'm seeing some wiggling, some shifting around. I see a few smiles, whatever you need. It could be dancing. It could just be taking a hand and putting it somewhere on yourself. Gradually, we are reorienting ourselves back into a more natural and freer state of being. State of being we once experienced as young children, being more in our senses, less in our ego, more in the world. So each of us is exploring in their own way. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's about more and more trusting in your own nervous system, in your own organism, in your own creativity. And I'm wondering, as you're exploring, can you play with finding a healthier state of balance in yourself? Perhaps in relation to gravity. Allowing any movement that may need to happen to bring you more into a fuller balance. Not a fixed state of balance, but a movable, resilient, living balance. So for most people, there are some habitual ways of keeping out of balance. For example, for most of us, it's the head and shoulders and neck, accustomed as we are to looking at screens for long periods of time and sitting for long periods of time, reading, that very often our head and neck and shoulders feel a little out of balance, often causing us pains. So if you like and find it helpful, you might bring one hand to the top of your head and just feel if the weight of your hand makes any changes happen in your sense of balance. And then what happens when you take your hand away? And then try again with the other hand if you like. Just the presence of your hand, the weight of your hand. Can you feel it? And allowing any movements, no matter how small, to happen that bring a healthier sense of balance. Feel free to play with this. And if you like, perhaps bring one hand to one shoulder. What happens in the shoulder when you sense the weight of your hand? And what happens when you take the hand away? And if the other shoulder is hungry for attention, maybe bring a hand to that shoulder. Just waking up your sensitivity there. Then I invite you to just play with going out of balance a little bit by bringing your head and shoulders a little bit forward until you can feel you're out of balance. And then go backward, bringing your head and neck and shoulders backwards till you feel out of balance. Perhaps looking up at the ceiling. And then bring it forward again. So the experiment is going out of balance, both forwards and backwards. And along the way, finding where you feel a healthy balance between the two extremes. Again, this is could be like a musician tuning his or her instrument. Finding that place that feels it's most in tune. Perhaps noticing this has some effect on your breathing. So bringing the head back, neck and shoulders back, out of balance. And then forward, out of balance. Where is the place that feels just right? And if you like, you can try the same thing in turning your head from side to side. Turning to the left, turning to the right. So you find a place somewhere in the middle that feels just right to you right now. And your neck and spine become more and more movable. And the fuller length of your spine be more engaged. So we worked for quite a while, and it might be good to just check in and see how this has been. But I invite us all to attempt to do this while staying in balance. The challenge here is, here we're in front of a screen, and for a lot of people, most people, this is one of the causes of going out of balance. This screen obsession that our society has. So is it possible, in other words, to be in balance, more in balance in yourself, and still be connected to your screen? So if anyone wants to share anything that they found particularly interesting or puzzling, just please unmute yourself.
Hey, Richard.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to try to stay in balance here. I particularly appreciated the going out of balance. That was very helpful to me to get a sense of what balance was. So thanks for that very much.
Oh, you're welcome. And thank you for saying that, because this is something we've all done as children, purposely go out of balance. That's how kids learn how to be more in balance.
Yes.
I have been involved for a couple of years now with this experiment with shooting a basketball from 3-point range. Because my team here in the Bay Area here in San Francisco, they have two very famous 3-point shooters. And I've been fascinated, how in hell can someone make a basket from that far distance? And so I found a gym during the pandemic where I've been able to practice that, and have found that sensory awareness has helped me greatly in being able to make these shots. And one of the secrets I found is balance, and playing with being out of balance, and just waking up more
I
through
read about that
movement.
on your website. I read that story on your website, and I was very interested in it because I was a high school basketball player.
All right.
And I took up basketball again in my 40s with a women's league. So that was quite an interesting story to me. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot to be learned there, because it's a lot of movement that in basketball that we don't normally do in our daily lives.
Yeah.
A lot of flying through space and um, stretching different ways. Yeah.
Well, I'll be 90 next month, so I have retired from basketball, but I did play up into my 60s anyway.
Okay. Oh, good for you. I'm not going to do it today, but I have an experiment where we can pretend that we're tightrope walkers, and to just imagine that you're a tightrope walker, and if you like, hold on to a chair or something while you do this, and just stand on one foot and practice what that would be like to actually be on a tightrope walk, and what needs to wake up in the foot and the leg and the hips as you prepare to raise one of your legs off the ground. And if you like, you can take your hand away from the chair, but just practicing with the what's needed in order to be so aware in the leg and in the feet to do such a thing. It can be done. People do it, but it's a thing about waking up, particularly in this very usually unused, more deadened part of ourselves.
Hi, Richard. Hi, everyone. I may be sort of the oppositional character here, but it's just about my own personal experience. Thank you for your class, Richard. I have been dizzy since about 5 this morning, really, really dizzy, and have been trying to, okay, do I need a little of this, or what about that, or did I forget this, or, just trying to figure it out and trying not to push myself too hard. And what I kept getting during your class was, I can't make this go away. I just have to be with it and make space for it. And it's okay that I'm struggling. My body's struggling and I don't know what to do for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, there were times where, I tried a little something that you suggested, but it was worse. And so I guess what I got from myself in the class is I don't have to make something happen if I'm unable. And I've spent a lot of my life trying to make things happen, even when I'm unable. And I can just be with what is. And the more comfortable I am with that, which, sensory awareness has tremendously helped me with, then the more comfortable I am with whatever is with me. You know, I hate to say I'm comfortable with dizziness because I'm really not. But anyway, so just coming from a completely, it sounds almost oppositional because it's so different from what I heard you saying, or what I heard the experiment to be, and maybe my own perception is skewed because of the fact that I am incredibly dizzy. I do have a syndrome that causes dizziness, so I'm not saying it's not that, but just trying to be with all that is within me and still be in the environment as you explained so well. Still allowing the environment around me to be clearly present as well as my own
So
struggle.
that doesn't sound oppositional.
Oh, good.
And you're very much in the experiment,
That's
dealing with the reality of your situation.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's good. Thank you. Appreciate it.
This question of balance, or this topic, is, of course, extremely varied, and it just touches on so many different aspects of our lives. How we can be more in balance in our movement, in our relationships, in our daily activities, our habits. But the key is really our sensing. How do we know when we're out of balance? And whether we're aware of it or not, our sensing is sending us messages. And our opportunity is to become more sensitive to these messages and notice what's something's a little out of balance here. It's not quite right. This is something that artists deal with a lot, is sensing, this is not quite the right color. This is not the right shape. Or it could be in the relationship. Something's not quite right here. And what is it? And I can sense it. And this can, through my curiosity, lead to some needed changes. And certainly in our health, it's a very important question of being more in balance. Am I getting enough proper exercise and movement? Right? Just always stuck in my habitual pattern, like a robot, or do I need to move more, get outside more, be with other people more, play more, whatever it is, our sensing can help us find it.